So this little device has been absolutely great to me the last couple of weeks. I've been using it basically daily, really enjoying it. It's been an overall great experience. I do have a few gripes, but overall very positive, and thought I'd do a quick review. So the FiiO BTR5 is a fantastic Bluetooth portable DAC amp. I've been using it for the last couple of weeks, and as I mentioned, it's been really good to me. Alright, so we're just going to do a simple unboxing here. Just get rid of this plastic. Nice little quick start guide. Actually, pretty thick quick start guide. We got our little DAC here. Very small. So you have a 3.5, a 2.5, and USB-C. You have the power, the volume rocker, and an extra button here. Oh, you got a nice little clear clip, so if you want to clip it to your pants or a shirt or something. And warranty card. And after sales service information. So, all in all, pretty simple, pretty easy. Very small device. You have your little clip here, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, we could go over all of the very technical details of this portable DAC amp, like the fact that it has an ES9218P X2 DAC or the CSR 8675 Bluetooth chip, but I really want to go over how the experience has been and how its features and all of those very technical details have actually come to fruition in the real world. Now, I've been using this DAC amp with a variety of headphones. I've been using it with my Sennheiser 598 SRs, which are the ones that I use on stream. I've been using it with my Massdraw Pi-Fiman HE4XX, which are a planar headphone. Been working great with these. These are what I've been using on walks at nighttime. They're very big and bulky, and they get very hot if I was to walk in these during the day, but at nighttime I have no problems with them, and they sound great with this DAC amp. Now, I've also been using it with my Philips Fidelio X2HRs that I actually use for work. As you can see, I have the V-Moda Boom Pro here that I use. I plugged them in, and then I can use it for music and work phone calls, which has been great. And the really nice thing is, this obviously adds a microphone, but the BTR5 also adds a microphone. So if you have headphones without a microphone, just a standard cable, you could use this and accept phone calls with a nice pair of headphones. So if you're working and you get a phone call, you can answer that. And the mic quality is all right. I'll show you what it sounds like. Not great, but it's not bad. Now, this plastic little clip that you can use to, clip the BTR5 onto something, it's nice to have, but unfortunately it is really hard to get the BTR5 out of this. I really feel like I have to yank the BTR5 out, and I'm always afraid that this plastic housing is going to scratch the glass on the BTR5. I typically don't use this for that reason, and I prefer just throwing the BTR5 in my pocket. However, if you are going to be using this while walking around the house and you do want to accept phone calls, the clip is the best way to do that, because then you can clip the BTR5 somewhere on your shirt or on a jacket, and then the microphone is accessible and people will be able to hear you if your headphones don't have a microphone. So this is what the microphone sounds like at a distance of about 6 inches or so. It is extremely sensitive, however. I feel like it does pick up a lot of background noise, so keep that in mind. Like if I just rub my mouse pad here, you can hear that super crazily well, and that was a good like 12 inches away from the microphone. So just keep that in mind, but the microphone is usable and totally doable. So volume wise, this has been able to drive all of these headphones super well. I'm able to get it to a very comfortable listening level and even a little bit higher than that if I want to. This is a very powerful DAC amp for its size, and the battery life on it has been great. I haven't had it die on me. I used it a couple of days without charging it, and it's been fine. It's been great. I charge it often, and I charge it whenever I can, but I'm never finding myself like rushing for a charger to charge it, if that makes sense. The other nice thing is that if you use it with the USB-C instead of over Bluetooth, you can actually charge it that way, which is really nice. And my phone being USB-C and this being USB-C, I have one cable that I can use, and that just makes it a lot easier and a lot more convenient. Now, it also being Bluetooth 5.0 is really nice, as most devices are nowadays. It means that the range has been absolutely fantastic. I've been able to leave my phone on my desk and walk around my basement. I've even actually been able to leave my phone on my desk and go upstairs to the kitchen directly above me and still be fully connected and have no problems. Now, on top of that Bluetooth 5.0, this also supports a ton of audio formats over Bluetooth, which is really nice. You can get whatever kind of quality you want and whatever kind of format you prefer. It has been awesome, and quality wise, I've really enjoyed the sound coming out of here. Funny enough, this is actually one of the first devices where NFC pairing has worked flawlessly for me. I was having troubles with it appearing on my Bluetooth list, but I ended up tapping my phone on it by accident, and NFC worked immediately, so worked out for me. NFC pairing hasn't worked for me very well in the past, especially with Bluetooth speakers and such, but on here it worked so easy, and it was by accident. Alright, so this is the FiiO control app. This is what you can use to control a bunch of the settings and stuff on your BTR5. You do get a few very easy settings. Car mode here allows the device to power up and power down when it notices a charge. So if you wanted to use this in your car, for example, this, as soon as it notices that the device is being charged again, it'll turn it on, and then as soon as the charging stops, it'll turn it off. Idle power off is pretty straightforward. You can choose your Bluetooth codecs here. So I just have them all selected so that it'll choose whichever one works the best with whatever service I'm using. You can utilize the input priorities. I have Bluetooth first because I mainly do use it with the Bluetooth, but if you do use it as a USB DAC primarily, it'll stop it from pairing via Bluetooth. If you choose USB DAC first, as soon as you have it plugged in, it'll stop trying to pair it over Bluetooth if it notices that it's plugged in. So keep that in mind. And you can choose different ways that the power button work for doing the menu operations. I just like holding the power button to grab the menus. It makes it a lot easier. I also hate double clicking to switch tracks, because if I'm trying to change a volume, I usually click it multiple times, and I would obviously be changing my song all the time, and I really don't like that. So I have it on hold volume buttons to switch tracks. Pretty straightforward again. And then the power off timer for the actual display. Now the setting cog here doesn't really do much. You can change your device name, you can restore it all to the default settings, you can clear any of the devices that it's been paired to, and you can shut it down from the app. Now here you have an EQ. I prefer using a flat EQ as much as possible. I really enjoy listening to the natural sounds of any of my headphones, but if you did have an EQ that you preferred using, they have a bunch of defaults here like dance, R&B, and so on. But again, I prefer using the defaults. If you do want to use them, turn it on the top right hand corner, and you can choose any of these and it'll automatically change them to whatever you feel. But I like having mine off. So the audio tab is really nice. You go ahead and throw the ohms of your headphones in there. You throw the sensitivity of them, which you can find on the spec sheet of any headphones. And then it'll spit out some information on the power and the sensitivity of those. Although those numbers don't really matter too much, it helps the device know what it's trying to power and changes its output based on that. You can change the maximum volume of the BTR5, so if you don't want to blow your ears out, you can do that. You can change the volume of tones, so any kind of notifications and volumes of calls. I don't have any of those on. You can turn a low pass filter on. I have the apodizing fast roll-off filter, which I found I enjoyed. But if you do want something else, you can easily choose any of these, and I would suggest just trying them all out and seeing which one you enjoy. And especially depending on the type of music you listen to, these can change and you can play around with them as well. You can change your channel balance as well, and you can have a bunch of distortion compensation. I don't use those at all, and I don't even know what the DAC clock divider level does, but I just left it at the default. So this last page is the guide. It's basically the manual for whatever device you have connected, in our case the BTR5. So it'll explain what all the buttons mean and how to get through anything, so you don't have to go and look up a manual on the internet. You can have it here, which I actually think is really awesome. I think it's nice that they have the manuals set right into the app. It makes it a lot easier for me to access if I forget how to do something. I don't use the menus on here very often. I literally just turn it on, plug my headphones in, and go. I spent a little bit of time setting it up the first time, and I actually watched Zeos's video going over this and in a lot more detail and kind of what his recommendations were. But other than that, I haven't really touched any of the settings. I changed the volume, I changed tracks, I paused them. That's basically it. It's been run and go for the last 2 weeks. I haven't really changed anything since. So I thought we would go over some of the menu stuff on here. It's relatively straightforward, and like I said, I don't really go through the menus on here very often, but everything is really nicely set out. It's very easy to go through the menus by using all of the buttons. So using the volume rockers will put you through the different settings, and then pressing the menu button here will bring you to like the next item. So it's telling me my version. You can throw your gain, so I have it on high gain because I'm using some pretty beefy headphones with it, but you can change that around depending on the headphones you're using. A bunch of these things are also on the FiiO app, so you don't actually have to navigate the menus on here. The screen is pretty small, so keep that in mind, but a lot of these things can be changed on the app, but this is a really easy to go through little menu. And again, there's not much here, but the screen is nice and bright and it works really well. I kind of like that it's a like a monochrome, very simple image. It, like when looking at it, it kind of looks like it's not even a screen. Looks like it's just part of the device, which I think is actually a really nice fit, and you don't really need anything more than that on here anyways. Now, if we want to go over some pros and cons of the BTR5, in my opinion, the sound quality has been absolutely fantastic. The battery life has been wonderful. I haven't had to rush for a charger at any point in time. The build quality on this thing is amazing. It looks really nice, and I'll talk about that in a con as well, but this just feels like a really solid piece of technology, especially for what you pay for. The NFC pairing is great. Bluetooth 5.0 is amazing. The wide support of different Bluetooth codecs and formats is amazing as well. And really, I didn't have a single issue with any kind of hissing or noise or any kind of sorts with any of my headphones. Now, I don't have my 6XX anymore, my Sennheiser 6XX. I had to sell them at the beginning of the pandemic last year when I got laid off to pay some bills. But once I do get those, I'll do a quick update tweet on how those sound on here. Now for some of the cons. As much as I really do enjoy the look of this glass finish, it picks up fingerprints like no tomorrow. I basically just wrap this thing in a microfiber cloth when I throw it in my pocket, because every time I pull it out and I do any kind of touching on it, I always have to feel like I have to touch it on the sides instead of on the front, because as soon as you touch anywhere on the front, you're going to get tons of finger smudging, and it's rough. It looks really dirty very quickly. I don't have the world's least oily hands, but I don't have the most oily hands either, and you'll just get fingerprints all over this thing. As mentioned before, the app leaves a lot to be desired. It's not the greatest thing in the world. It's not the worst, but it does leave a lot to be desired. I wish there would be some improvements, and because it's software, it could always be improved in the future, but we have to wait for that and see what happens. And finally, as I mentioned before, this clip is not great. It's good if you have use for it, like I said, for using the microphone and stuff, but if you don't plan on using the microphone at all, I would suggest just throwing it in your pocket. I've been throwing this around in my pocket with my phone for the last couple of weeks. No scratches or anything on the glass, no scratches on the metal. I do take pretty good care of my stuff, so better than the average person, but again, it has been great and the build quality is fantastic. I don't think you have to worry about that. So as for the price, as I mentioned, this is a really awesome device for its price point. I picked it up at $150, which it seems to be on sale again at $150, which is the lowest in Canadian that it has been on Amazon at least. So that's a great deal. Unfortunately, it is not on sale on the US website. The lowest price that it's gone has been $110, but I still think that at 120 bucks, it's still worth the price. And overall, that is my review and impressions of this BTR5. As I mentioned, I've been really enjoying it. I really do like it. I use it daily. I use it on walks. I use it when I'm just walking around the house, because I do really enjoy using my good headphones. I have wireless earbuds, but I prefer only using that when I have to, like if I'm riding my bike or if I'm working out. But if I'm able to wear headphones and not worry about sweating, so like when I'm in the house or if I'm walking at night, I really do prefer doing that, and these allow me to do so with a phone that doesn't have a headphone jack anymore. Another big reason I picked this up is for when I go camping. I really enjoy laying in a hammock, and previously I actually brought another phone, an older phone, that had a headphone jack on it, and I would use that to tether to this phone with a mobile hotspot in order to listen to my music. So now I don't have to worry about that. I can just bring this, and instead of having two phones, I just have my phone and this little tiny device, which is wonderful. Really hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, I'd really appreciate it if you like subscribed. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, feel free to leave those in the comment section below. All of these things really do help me out, and they help the videos get a little more attention. As always, I stream on Twitch from Friday until Tuesday. Come check me out and say hello. If you want to ask any more questions about this device or any other kind of use cases, feel free to message me there, and I'll try to answer them as quickly as I can on stream. Thanks again for watching the end of the video. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you next Friday.